Hello. Welcome back to school. This is going to be kind of like my year one arithmetic review or whatever. It's kind of a walkthrough of what it is that we went through. Um, I would say like us about like all of the work put together is probably around like at least 6 months, give or take, because there's a few times we didn't really do anything, like especially over summer. So it may have been between 4 to 6 months of like real actual book work and homework and all that stuff. But in the end, um, I think I started like in December was when we started this. So it's pretty close to that time. Um, so we learned all the addition and subtraction problems that cover from naught all the way up to 10. And basically like the numbers that comprise or that compose to make up these other numbers. Like 5 less, I mean these would be the fives. Yeah, I don't even think these are all in order. No, these are not. So like 7 and naught is 7, and then all the sevens, and here's one with an 8. So we did those. We did recitation tables, which I really, I don't know, it's kind of a love-hate relationship with those. I like to do them because I know that those help, because it's basically doing recitation work. It's forcing me to recall information that's already been stored. That's a really good way of retrieving information. It helps make those neural pathways stronger for the new information to be converted into from short term into long term. So that is everything we did as far as the basic arithmetic facts go, which is basically the huge component of this, was just to learn all of these. There was some other stuff that was added, like learning about the pints and the quarts in the gill. Actually, to be honest, this is 2 gills. Half of this would be 1 gill. A gill is equivalent to 4 ounces. So, and this is 8 ounces. So this is 2 gills. But either or, and this I think is a pint, and this one is a quart. So having all of that, my other jugs kind of got thrown away, so I had to go out and get new ones. So that is that. We also used a couple of these books. Well, hold on, let me pull these out. So these are the books. Most of class we just used what was on the PDF, or on the file, the PDF file. I recently found these and a bunch of other ones. I've been on the search for looking for these books because it's easier for me to navigate through versus doing a online file. But for most of this, for year one, we used the PDF. And to be honest, I really didn't have a textbook. Basically, this teacher that was just reading off problems, and I was doing everything orally. It wasn't until the very end was when this book came into play, after I'd learned about the numbers in Braille, which I'd already known about the numbers, but just kind of keeping things consistent. So this book actually goes with this, the TFSN, the first steps in number. And this book does have a student book that goes with it, but I didn't find it until after we had started class, and it was kind of halfway into the course, and I thought, well, I'll just use it next year, use it for review or something. So these were basically the three main books that we did. This book we kind of used as like a warmer-upper, if that makes sense. It didn't really have a lot of actual work, but I liked it in the sense that it did introduce what we needed, and it wasn't like overwhelming. The actual textbook per se would be this book, and no, we did not cover the whole thing. A lot of these books, they actually cover multiple years. So we've gone through, I've gone through and marked out how far we've gone. You can kind of see that's about how far we got with the little tabs. There's a bunch of reading in this book, in the front matter and things. This book we covered up to this tab here, so we are about halfway through the book. This is gonna, after this tab is year 2, this is gonna be covered in year 3, which is a bunch of tables and things. So that pretty much laid out the foundation of what it is that we're doing. Let's see, other real big to-dos was learning the Braille symbols for not only the numbers, which I already knew, but also for the arithmetic symbols for the addition, the subtraction, and the equal sign. And those we kind of just corresponded using with this book as they were introduced in the teaching edition and in the student book. That was kind of how we incorporated them into Braille. And I really like this method of how they used to do arithmetic, because basically from what it felt like was, one, you didn't have to worry about learning how to write numbers. You didn't have to worry about, learning how to add a whole bunch of stuff all at once and subtract a whole bunch of stuff all at once. You didn't have to really know anything. Everything was very methodological. I don't know if that's a word, but methodical. I can't say the word. Methodical. I don't know. Everything was in a very clean, clear method of a way of teaching and learning. When it came to the actual symbols, I like that they didn't bombard you with a whole bunch of stuff. They first introduced the equal sign, and obviously first, you learned the numbers, and then you learned what the equal sign was. And then when it came to the student book, that's all you were working on, was just practicing writing in the equal sign for the numbers. And then, you had to figure out the problems for those that you had to figure out the problems for. And then later they introduced the addition sign and the subtraction sign, and I forgot about the fraction sign. So learning about those, they were all very carefully and very gently, if I want to say, introduced, so that it didn't seem like a big to-do. These books also covered fractions. The one section, let's see, what did they cover? They covered the whole, the half, the third, the fourth, and the eighth. I think they covered the eighth with the fourth. I honestly don't remember about the eighth. I know in class we did the eighths, like we were doing something on the board with that, but it wasn't clicking. And I really wish that teacher had used the little fraction bits, that the little fraction cards that we had made up. But we did some stuff on the board. I don't know if I did outside work on that or not. I don't know. But the eighths is covered in here. Other measurements, we're talking about the inch. They're talking a little bit about shapes, like drawing squares and drawing, not necessarily identifying them, but just being able to draw, four squares or 8 triangles or 8 crosses or something. So there's little things like that, which is fun. And then the measurements talking about the pints and the gills and the quarts. The gill, I know it isn't used like in modern measurement, but just to know that it's there, it's just another tool or another way of looking at measurements. And it kind of expands your brain a little bit too. So that is pretty much, and this is my notebook where I've been putting notes in for homework. Obviously, there hasn't been a lot of written work, but most of the written work here, let me see here. I think it's, let's see, we got the exam, which I did write out. It's a 99.51. I can't read my writing. Percent, and there's 205 problems, and I only got 204 correct. Oh darn, I missed one. So this was basically just all written, nothing real extravagant about it. And then other stuff was just stuff from homework assignments, as far as writing down when we did cover what pages. Fractions, I know there's some stuff in here about fractions. There is some stuff in here about if I got a problem wrong or something, I had to write it out. This is where I did that. Cards, when I would learn new flashcards, I wrote those down. Although I think when I got to like 9 and 10, I don't know why I didn't write those down, but they're not in there. But we did cover those. So this book will most definitely be used for year 2 arithmetic, which is going to cover a lot more information. And probably after holiday, we'll get moving on that. For now, I think we'll probably do Braille. Well, probably we will do Braille reading. I don't like to read Braille because I get tension under my wrist, and that's not good. But I don't experience that when I play piano or organ. So actually the weird thing is I get tension on the upper side of my forearm when I do some piano and organ stuff. But under the wrist, it only happens when I read Braille, and I don't know why. I'm going to see about getting that looked at and seeing, what I can do to help the situation. So yeah, so that covers pretty much everything that I learned in year 1. I would highly recommend doing this method. Granted, it's like with any first learning how to do something, teacher guidance, parent guidance, whatever is gonna be needed. But I think going through these would really help with just that whole relationship bonding. You don't have to just read the problems straight from the book. You can actually create your own problems unique to your situation of something that your child or student might enjoy, versus just reading this stuff straight from the book. But everything is really nicely laid out. All of these books are public domain. You can buy them off Amazon. I would strongly recommend not to get the books from the Scholar Publishing. I have found that those books are just really, really hard to read, especially for the fractions. These books are forgotten books, which, considering it's probably going to be the best find I can get without having to go through like Lulu or something. And I don't know how to do that. So I've tried it a couple times and it doesn't work because I don't know how to do it. So I'm very thankful that I found what I have found. So yeah, I would highly recommend going through, for a first couple years, going through these books. You'll definitely, these books are meant to cover, I think, 2 to 3 years of study. And it's not horribly too bad. If anything, I think it's actually a lot better than the stuff you'll find nowadays. So with that, you can like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in year 2 arithmetic or practicing or whatever.